Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're here with Back to Your Roots Herbs, and we're going to be talking about a plant called Butea superba.
It's a pretty fascinating plant.
Yeah,
You might know it by some of his other names like red clip or flame of the forest.
yeah, those are some pretty evocative names.
Yeah.
So what is it about this plant that's been kind of generating some buzz, especially when it comes to men's health?
Well, it's a really pretty plant with these bright red flowers, and it has a long history of use in traditional Thai medicine.
Hmm.
It's native to Southeast Asia, and it's been used traditionally for just overall vitality and well-being.
And I know that Back to Your Roots Herbs sources their Butea superba directly from Thailand, so that's got to be a good thing, right?
Oh, absolutely. Sourcing it from its native region just ensures that we are getting the most potent and beneficial form of the plant.
Now, I know that Butea superba is packed with these beneficial compounds like flavonoids, saponins, and alkaloids. Um, but let's get specific. What about this plant is grabbing the attention of researchers and, more importantly, why should our listeners care?
Well, one of the really interesting things about Butea superba is that there's a growing body of research looking at its effects on male reproductive health,
Yep.
specifically in the areas of erectile function and sperm health. We're actually seeing studies that suggest it might be really helpful for men who are struggling in these areas.
Yeah, I think a lot of men listening can relate to those concerns. So what can you tell us about the science behind these potential benefits? What have the studies actually shown?
Well, there have been quite a few studies that have focused specifically on how Butea superba affects erectile function.
Hi.
One study in particular looked at diabetic rats, which often experience erectile dysfunction.
Right.
And the researchers found that Butea superba significantly increased what's called intracavernous pressure.
And that's basically the blood pressure within the penis, right?
Exactly, and it's a key indicator of erectile function.
So it's not just anecdotal evidence. There's actual scientific data backing up these traditional uses.
That's right.
So I'm curious, what's the mechanism at play here? How is Butea superba actually working to improve erectile function?
Well, researchers think that Butea superba is helping to relax the smooth muscle in the penis,
Okay.
which allows for increased blood flow to the area.
Makes sense.
And of course, healthy blood flow is crucial for achieving and maintaining a firm erection.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like clearing a pathway for things to flow more smoothly.
Exactly.
Now, we've been talking a lot about erectile function, but it sounds like the benefits go beyond that.
Right.
What about the research on sperm health? What have scientists discovered there?
So there's some really interesting research coming out on that front as well. Studies have shown that long-term use of Butea superba can actually increase both sperm count and motility in rats.
Wow, that's really significant, especially
Yeah.
that motility piece, right?
Yeah.
Because that's all about how well the sperm can swim, which is essential for fertilization.
Exactly.
That's huge. So many couples struggle with infertility these days. And to think that there might be a natural remedy out there that could offer some support in that area is just, it's incredible. It's like giving people hope where they may have felt like they'd lost it.
Absolutely.
Now, I know we've touched on this a little bit already, but I want to circle back to the fact that Back to Your Roots Herbs really prioritizes quality and authenticity when it comes to sourcing its Butea superba. Can you talk a little more about that?
Yes, absolutely. We're really committed to providing our customers with the highest quality products possible, and that starts with sourcing our herbs from the best possible sources. And in the case of Butea superba, that means going right to the source, which is Thailand.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious about these compounds, daidzein and genistein. What role do they play in Butea superba's effects?
Those two compounds, those are really interesting. They seem to work synergistically, which means that they actually enhance each other's effects. Studies suggest that when you combine these two compounds, they have a much stronger effect on several different aspects of male reproductive health than when they're used individually.
Hmm, interesting. So what aspects of male reproductive health are we talking about here?
Well, we're seeing positive effects on sperm parameters,
Yeah.
cholesterol levels, and even testosterone levels.
Wow, so it's like this power couple working together to boost men's health.
Mhm.
But are there any potential downsides to using Butea superba? What about safety considerations?
That's a really important question, and it's one that we take very seriously at Back to Your Roots Herbs.
Mhm.
Responsible use is always key with any supplement, and Butaeus superba is no exception.
Right.
Now, there was a study that was done to investigate the mutagenic and anti-mutagenic effects of Butaeus superba,
Okay.
and they found that it was non-mutagenic, meaning it doesn't cause genetic mutations. It even showed some protective effects against certain harmful substances.
Mhm.
But it's really important to remember that dosage matters.
Okay.
High doses showed the potential for something called micronucleus formation in animal studies.
And micronuclei are basically fragments of chromosomes, right?
Yes,
Which can be a sign of cellular damage.
that's exactly right. So, like with many things in life, moderation is key.
Absolutely. And it's always a good idea to consult with your healthcare provider before starting any new supplement, especially if you have any pre-existing health conditions or if you're taking any medications.
Absolutely.
Now, before we move on, I want to ask, are there any other areas of men's health where Butaeus superba might be beneficial? I know we focused a lot on erectile function and sperm health, but is there anything else that we should know about?
You know, that's a great question, and it's important to remember that Butaeus superba has been used in traditional Thai medicine for centuries to promote overall vitality and well-being. So, while the research on its effects on specific men's health issues is still emerging,
Yeah.
its traditional use suggests that it may have a much broader range of benefits.
That's really interesting. So it's not just about addressing specific problems, but it's also about supporting the body's natural ability to thrive.
Exactly.
Now, speaking of supporting the body's natural ability to thrive, I know that Back to Your Roots Herbs offers Butaeus superba in both powder and capsule form. So there's an option for everyone, which is great.
Absolutely. We want to make it as easy as possible for people to incorporate this powerful plant into their routines in a way that works best for them.
Fantastic. Now, I'm really curious to learn more about some of the specific studies that have been done on Butaeus superba and its effects on men's health. What are some of the key findings that have really stood out to you?
Well, there's this one study that really caught my eye.
Okay.
This one study that looked at the effects of Butaeus superba on penile erection and sperm production in rats.
Mhm.
And what's amazing about this study is that they actually found that a specific dose of Butaeus superba was the most effective at enhancing erections. And long-term treatment with Butaeus superba actually led to a really significant increase in sperm count. I mean, we're talking almost double.
That's a pretty dramatic increase.
Yeah.
You know, for couples who are trying to conceive, infertility can be such a challenging experience,
Well, absolutely.
both emotionally and physically.
Yeah.
So to think that there's this natural option out there that could potentially help it's really encouraging.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And it really speaks to the potential of this plant.
Absolutely.
Another study that I thought was really interesting was one that looked at those compounds we talked about earlier,
Right.
Daidzein and genistein.
Yes, the dynamic duo.
Exactly, and how they work together.
Mhm.
And the researchers found that when they combined those two compounds, they actually had a much stronger effect on several different aspects of male reproductive health
Okay.
than when they used them separately.
Interesting. And what aspects of male reproductive health are we talking about here?
So we're seeing positive effects on sperm health, cholesterol levels,
Yeah.
and even testosterone levels.
Wow. So it's really like this power couple
Yeah,
working together to boost men's health.
that's a great way to put it.
It's pretty amazing
It is.
how these natural compounds can work in synergy like that.
It really highlights the complexity and the beauty of herbal medicine.
Mhm.
These plants contain this whole orchestra of compounds that
Yeah.
often work together to
Mhm.
create a greater effect than any single compound could achieve on its own.
Yeah, it's like nature has already figured out the perfect formula.
I like that.
But even with all this promising research, it's important to remember that Butaeus superba isn't a magic bullet.
Oh, absolutely not.
Right.
It's not a quick fix.
Right.
And it's really important to approach it as part of a holistic wellness journey.
Right.
You know, taking care of your physical health, your
Yeah.
mental health, your emotional health.
Yeah.
It's all interconnected.
It really is.
Yeah,
It's about making healthy choices across the board,
absolutely.
managing stress,
Yes.
nurturing those important relationships in our lives.
That's so important.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think Butaeus superba can be a really valuable addition to that journey for men, potentially helping them to feel more confident, more energized,
Yeah.
more vital.
Right.
And when men feel good,
Yeah.
they can show up more fully in all areas of their lives.
I love that perspective.
Yeah.
It's not just about the physical health,
Yeah.
but it's about that overall well-being and having the energy and vitality
Yeah.
to really live life to the fullest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about taking a proactive approach to your health
Uh-huh.
and seeking out natural solutions that really support your individual needs.
Yeah, that's great.
So as we're kind of wrapping up our exploration of Butea superba,
Okay.
what's the one thing that you want our listeners to take away from this conversation today?
That's a great question.
Mm.
I think the most important thing is to approach Butea superba with both curiosity
Okay.
and a healthy dose of caution.
Yeah.
Do your research.
Absolutely.
Talk to your healthcare provider.
Yes.
And if it feels right for you,
Uh-huh.
explore what this plant might have to offer.
Yeah.
After all, your health is a journey,
That's right.
not a destination,
I love that.
right?
Butea superba might just be a valuable companion along the way.
I like that.
And speaking of empowerment, we want to make sure that our listeners have all the resources they need
Of course.
to explore Butea superba
Definitely.
further.
Yeah, we've got you covered.
Yes.
Back to your roots. Offers high-quality, ethically sourced Butea superba in both powder and capsule form,
That's right.
so you can choose what works best for you.
Exactly.
And to make it even easier, you can find detailed information about Butea superba on our website,
Yes.
www.backtoyourrootsherbs.com.
And as always, we recommend starting with a lower dose to see how your body responds.
Yeah, good advice.
Everyone is different.
Absolutely.
So it's about listening to your own body's wisdom.
That's such an important reminder. We're all unique, and what works for one person may not work the same way for another.
Exactly.
So pay attention,
Yes.
be patient,
Mm-hmm.
and remember that true well-being is a journey,
Yes.
not a destination.
Beautifully said.
Now, before we say goodbye, I want to leave our listeners with something to ponder
Okay.
as we rediscover the power of nature's remedies.
Mm-hmm.
How can we integrate these ancient practices
Yeah.
into our modern lives in a way that feels authentic and empowering?
That's a wonderful question.
Yeah.
It's about finding that sweet spot
Right.
where tradition meets innovation, where the wisdom of ancient practices blends seamlessly with modern science.
Yeah,
It's about reclaiming our connection to nature
right.
and remembering that we are a part of the natural world,
Oh.
not separate from it.
Beautifully put. It's a journey of rediscovering the wisdom that lies within us
Yes.
and within the natural world around us.
Absolutely.
And Butea superba, with its long history of traditional use
Right.
and growing scientific support,
Yeah.
might just be a guiding light on that path.
I love that.
So, thanks for joining us today as we explore the world of Butea superba.
It's been a pleasure sharing what we know about this remarkable plant.
And for those of you who want to learn more about Butea superba,
Yes.
and perhaps even experience its potential benefits for yourself,
Absolutely.
you can find detailed information and order our high-quality Butea superba products
That's right.
right on our website,
Yes.
www.backtoyourrootsherbs.com. We've got you covered with both powder and capsule options,
That's right.
so you can choose what works best for you.
Exactly.
And to make it even easier,
Yes.
you'll find a direct link to the Butea superba product page
Perfect.
right in the description below.
Awesome.
Don't forget, we always recommend starting with a lower dose
Yes.
and seeing how your body responds.
Good advice.
Listen to your body's wisdom.
Uh-huh.
It's the best guide you have.
It really is.
Well, thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Yeah.
Till next time, stay curious, stay informed, and
Absolutely.
stay rooted in your own well-being. So thanks for joining us today as we explored the world of Butea superba.
It's been a pleasure sharing what we know.
And for those of you who want to learn more, so you can choose what works best for you.
Exactly.
And to make it even easier, you'll find a direct link to the Butea superba product page right in the description below.
Perfect.
Don't forget, we always recommend starting with a lower dose and seeing how your body responds. It's the best guide you have.
It really is.
Well, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Until next time, stay curious,
Yes.
stay informed,
Absolutely.
and stay rooted in your own well-being.